IVM.
$100. That's all it takes to begin your journey with Bitcoin and Ethereum. No, really. With CoinSwitch, you can start investing in over 100 cryptocurrencies with just 100 rupees. On top of that, there are zero charges for deposits and withdrawals, so you can trade, buy, sell, however and whenever you want. All of this, plus their extremely intuitive interface, makes CoinSwitch the perfect app for beginners in the crypto space. But don't take my word for it. Just download CoinSwitch for free and try it out for yourself. If you'd like more information on cryptocurrencies, tune into a show about crypto with me, Rohan Joshi, my new adventure on IVM podcasts. CoinSwitch, kuch to badlega.
Here's your smart fact of the day.
Most people actually get confused between brand awareness campaign and public awareness campaign. The most famous public awareness campaigns are like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge or No Makeup Selfie or, Stop This Traffic, which was the sex worker thing. On the other hand, brand awareness campaigns are just doing some work for brands. They on an average run to around 3 months, and so that's what they typically do. Now, I wanted to focus on this particular episode of Smarter With Sid on awareness campaigns and whether they are actually working, when they work, when they don't work. And I'll tell you about a certain change of mind that I've done about awareness campaigns. Let's go. My love-hate relationship with awareness campaigns came about the time when I was working with a telecom company and we were looking at a competitor's action, and I was appalled to see them put out something which was just talking, about the service without really telling the reason why people should go out and buy it. And I thought that what a waste of money. They'd put all these holdings out of Mumbai and Pune and Ahmedabad and all of that. I'm not going to name them and shame them. But they'd put it out there, and I was particularly perturbed because they just talked about the service and assumed that what they're doing is spending money for a good cause, which is awareness building. And I was particularly worked up because I thought that there's something missing in the equation. I mean, why just build awareness when you can build demand? And the way in which you can build demand is automatically you're going to create awareness, no? So that's why I keep teaching my students, when you build demand, you build awareness as well. When you build awareness, you need not necessarily create demand. And that's something that I was genuinely, believing. And that is something that I still believe in as far as, a lot of awareness campaigns are concerned. Because I consider awareness campaigns as a poor cousin of demand building campaigns, right? But now you might ask me, what's a demand building campaign? Well, a demand building campaign is one wherein there is a perception shift of people who will suddenly consider your product or your category or your brand or, they will consider you over competition. And it's a very different set of things that you're communicating. And the weight of communication is on the persuasive element rather than, I'm just trying to make things clear for you or aware, make you more aware of what my product is. I consider the previous thing, just the building of awareness, I used to consider, and I still do, that, what you're doing is that you're expecting the target audience to do all the hard work of trying to understand who you are. And it's a very product-centric approach. They call it marketing myopia, which actually means that what you're doing is that you're so myopic, you're so focused on this sure thing that your product or brand is that is so amazing and it's never going to fail. So, and people will just get it when you put it out there. So that's the reason why it fails. So that's what my view on awareness building campaigns was. And I used to always wonder whether these so-called public awareness building campaigns like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge and all of that were genuinely awareness building campaigns or were they demand or behavior shifting campaigns? Yeah, point to think, right? Point to ponder. But now, having said that and having made my initial position very clear about awareness and why demand generating campaigns are better than awareness generating campaigns, let me argue for the other side. Okay, why an awareness campaign sometimes is a good idea. And the more I study different kinds of people, the more I understand that different kinds of people react differently to the same brand, to the same product, based upon the way in which it is communicated to them. I don't genuinely feel that there is any such thing as a very hardcore target segment anymore, wherein people will behave uniformly towards your brand or as if they're lemmings. Yeah, but more on that later. I think I have explored this a little bit in the course that I've done for Next Level Learning. You can obviously go and look at how brand building is done according to at least me, and you can learn from that course. It's a pretty big kind of learning experience, even if I say so myself. I've put in a lot of work for it, and it is something which is I think over 6 episodes or something of 20 minutes each and stuff like that, and I've kind of priced it competitively. But I'm not making this into a commercial break. What I'm trying to do is trying to make you aware of awareness, and does awareness work? So coming back to the main point, should you always build demand when you're told to build awareness? I'm not so sure anymore, even though I have argued passionately for the point, because of the fact that there are a lot of people who actually start getting very, very edgy when you try and connect to that demand thing. Because I think all of us somewhere, for some reason, understand when we are being sold to. And a lot of times there are some sectors which are getting so sophisticated because they're so over communicated that if you try to generate some demand, for your brand, it actually can backfire. Let me explain this a little more. So if you're kind of trying to craft a narrative or a story that will sell your XYZ brand in a market which is already overpopulated and people already know what, the various competitors are, or even people are just over communicated with advertising of that particular segment, you're going to figure out that very quickly that people don't like being sold to. Especially in today's day and age wherein everyone's trying to sell something to everybody, right? Now, the fact is that in such a case, perhaps an awareness building campaign works way better. Maybe a more obscure path towards, building some sort of connect or relationship works way better than, just the typical story building narrative. And I think some brands do it really, really well because they connect to a movement that already exists outside, or they connect to a community. They kind of chill and play it mellow, kind of take it down a notch a little. And it does work. I'm not saying it works across sectors, and I'm still saying that probably 7 times out of 10, you should try to create that story, create that narrative that will generate demand. But there will be 3 times out of 10 wherein you probably need to create awareness or just focus on awareness building rather than trying to sell a narrative or a story to your target segment. Does this make counterintuitive sense? It does to me, because a lot of times people want to craft their own narratives. So if you just make people aware of, your product, and if they're in those innovator, early adopter category, they're going to craft their own narratives and they're going to sell for you. But they can only sell for you if you're not selling it already. Otherwise, they're not going to sell your narrative for you. They're going to sell their own narrative. I hope that makes sense. I hope you like this episode of Smarter with Sid. 1% smarter, even if it means contradicting your own views to make yourself smarter. That's, I guess, something of a gift that we can give ourselves in 2022 and beyond. And if you like this episode, do follow me. I'm the traveling professor on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I may contradict myself a lot of times over a period of time, but it's always to make myself 1% smarter. And hey, if you like stuff like this, just go to IVM. They've got a lot of wonderful, wonderful podcasts waiting for you.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Advertising is Dead, Varun speaks to Rohit Raj, business partner at BBK Vines. Rohit talks about what it takes to be a creator's backbone and shares some exclusive tidbits from the marketing of Dindora. On Smarter with Sid, Siddharth tells us what to do next once we have our dream job. On Tere Mere Raste, Keshav points out the contrast in commuting by Indian and American railways. On Hans Vani, here's the story Ulchan that asks a question about love and friendship. And on Marathi Kitkitun, the Deshmukhs dissect Padmatai Gole's famous poem Chafyacha Zada. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. We really do appreciate the word of mouth. Also, don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms that you're listening to us on, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is. And we are also on YouTube. On YouTube, you can check out our various channels on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Bank of Baroda and CoinSwitch Kuber. Thank you for making this possible.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.